What's good, Brick City? It's your boy Nijima or Sibrecht right here, bringing you a post-potent Hypernova deck profile for Labyrinth. I took this deck to locals yesterday and ended up going 4-0 on the entire thing. It was still the old battle list, however my list is made for the format. Post, Photonhoven, post, Voice post, the next ban list, and I think it's going to stack up really well, even better than now, as the deck's most Miyoko matchup is the element. I think this deck is really good into cash, it's really good into tier. Sorry, it's really good into the remains of tier. It's pretty good into rogue decks. It's pretty good into Sprite. It's alright against Runic if you play your side deck correctly. I think this deck has a lot of potential of being one of those 1.5 contenders for the upcoming format post the next ban list. At the locals, so like I said, I went 4-0. I only dropped one game, which was in the finals. Round 1, I went up against full power Ishizu. Then I went up against Sword Soul, followed by Branded Bestial, and I ended up going up against a Dynamorphia Labyrinth list. But all that being said, let's just have a look at the deck, how it functions, and why I think this deck has a good chance going into the next format. So first up, we play triple Ariana, Lady of the Labyrinth Servant. She's not a lady, whatever. So what this one does, I usually compare her a bit to Multi-Faker. How she works is you normal or special summon her, and then she has the effect to add a Labyrinth card from your deck to your hand. Usually you go for traps, but there are moments where you want to go for that field spell, where you want to go for one of the hand trap monsters or just another monster, so you can use or summon them. So she's pretty versatile. She also has a second effect. Most Labyrinth monsters have a second effect when a trap is activated or when a monster leaves the field because of a trap effect. This one says when a monster leaves the field because of a normal trap effect, you can draw one card. If it's a monster, special summon it. If it's a trap, you can set it. It's not the card you draw, it's just any card from hand. So she's very versatile. One thing, however, is you can't use both of her effects on the same turn. So you can't just summon her, bounce something or pop something, draw one and set it. You can't do that one. She's kind of like that in the heart once per turn on one of those effects. Then the next one we play is your big monster. Here is Lady Labrynth of Silver Castle. So she is pretty much your main boss monster in the deck. You want to summon her as much as you can. She's basically Lord of the Heavenly Prison, but in a version that I enjoy, because I don't like Lord of Heavenly Prison, let alone in this deck. I think if you play it, sure, but I think she does enough by herself. So how she functions, she kind of has 3 effects. First effect is, if you have a set card on the field, she cannot be destroyed by your opponent's battle card effects. Pretty cool, doesn't really come up that much, but it's cool. If you activated a trap card or the effect of a Labyrinth monster this turn, you can special summon her in defense position, which comes up a lot. And then finally, when, keep in mind this is when a trap card is activated, you can set one trap directly from the deck. It has to be a normal trap and it has to be a non-Labyrinth trap. I'm pretty sure, let's double check that one. Just one normal trap, so you can even set Labyrinth traps. I think I even did that, I just don't know why I said that. Anyways, then finally, our biggest boss monster is lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. She is your pseudo biggest boss. She is kind of your resource loop. She is your biggest form of interruption. She says, first of all, trap cards cannot be interrupted by your opponent when she's on the field. Then also, when a monster leaves the field because of a trap effect, you can destroy one card on the field of your choosing or one random card in the hand, which is pretty cool, because if you play your cards right, you can Yadalock using her silver or another card in the deck, and Compulse, where you just Yadalock your opponent over and over. And I even did that twice during the locals last time, where I Yadalocked the tier player and I Yadalocked the Branded Bestial player. She finally has the Resort Loop effect, where you just say, hey, during your main phase, you can set one trap from your graveyard back to your field. So she's really cool. She play her at 1 because she's a brick. You can't special summon her, which is the only one you can't really normal or special. So she has the brick issue, but she's still really strong. She's necessary, but having her on the field is just a lot of pressure. Then finally, my final 3 Labyrinth monsters. We play 1 Labyrinth Archfiend, 1 Cooklock, and 1 Chandelier. How these function, so first of all, Labyrinth Archfiend, he can special summon himself after you activate a trap. So just after the activation, you can special summon this guy. If he is special summoned, you can set one trap that can only be activated in the battle phase directly from your deck. I go for Far Welcoming Labyrinth. You'll see that in a minute what that does. You can go for Magic Cylinder. I know Kali Effect likes to do that. You can go for Mirror Force. You can go for a bit of whatever. Cool Clock is a pretty cool hand trap in a sense. It says you can discard this card Then if you control a Labyrinth monster, you can activate one trap you have set this turn, but only one. So you can sometimes just normal Ariana, set welcome, activate this guy, activate the welcome, and start popping off. And then also it has a second effect, it Chain Switch Chandelier, which is if a card is discarded for an effect of a Labyrinth monster, you can add it back to your hand. And on the other side, you have Chandelier. Chandelier is pretty simple. Discard as well as another card from your hand, set one Labyrinth spell or trap directly from the deck. Pretty cool. They kind of work together. If you discard this with this guy in grave, you just get it back. Then you can activate the trap that you just set from him. This turn, pretty damn cool. They're a pretty nice combo. He also floats. When a monster leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can add it back to your hand. So these two just always come back. That's why I play 1 and 1. This guy is on 1 mainly because he's also kind of pseudo brick. He doesn't do that much. It just gives you one trap. And because I only played 1, I don't think you play more than 1, right? Because he's just an extra copy of your Lady Labyrinth. Okay, so that's it for the Labyrinth monsters in my main deck. We still play 6 more monsters. First up, we play triple Lava Golem in the main deck. I think this card is absolutely bonkers, this format, and it's going to be even better next one. It completely beats tier. It's really good against sprites. It works against the Gishki lines. It works against Rogue, and even funnier, and again, I did this as well. You can even just summon this off of Ariana and beat people to death with it. I use it so many times just for random stuff. I think I summoned it more on my side of the field than on my opponent's side of the field, Lost Locals. It's just an OTK tool as well. You can just bounce something, summon Lava Golem, suddenly there is lethal on board to have fun. So yeah, Lava Golem, don't really need to explain what he does. And then finally I play triple Ash Blossom. For now it's triple Ash Blossom. Like I said, the deck isn't complete after Photon Hypernova yet. I like one card I would like to bump up in ratio. In the final list, I think I want to play 2 Ash Blossom and a second Way Bridge. More on that card later as well. But for now, I play the triple Ash. I think it's a very good blanketed hand trap right now. I think it's getting more in contention for being good again. I think with Sprite, without Elf, and Cash Incense, and even with Runic and such, all being better at the moment. I think Ash is getting back into play, but it isn't that great of a hand trap at the moment. But the biggest reason I like it is the same reason why I replaced one of the Wave Bridges I lack with an Ash Blossom. It's mainly just because it's a card. It's really good going second, and it's really good going first, and it's really blanketed on what it does, and it's just a safety net. So yeah, I think I want to play 2 Ash, but for now, until I get the second Wave Bridge. It's 3, and she came up a lot. Like I said, my final 2 matches were against Branded and were against Anamorphia. So yeah, Ash is just bonkers in those matchups. And that's it for monsters. Then we move on to the spells in the deck, which isn't too much. First of all, we play 1 Labyrinth. I tested with 2. They really like 2. I think 1 is enough. The card is good, but not that great. So how this card functions is if you activate a Welcome Labyrinth, of which we play a total of 6. We play 3 normal Welcome, 2 big Welcome, and 1 far Welcome. You can pop a card on the field, no targeting, you just pop 1. And if you activate another normal trap that isn't a Welcome one, you can recur one of your Labyrinth monsters. You can just summon a Labyrinth monster from the grave. So, all in all, very good card. It's a win-more situation, but if you have it on the field, the pressure it puts out is just amazing. Also important, the pop effect and the reborn effect are just added effects to one card, so both can occur in the same turn, which is just really nice. Next up for spells, I play double Pot of Duality and double Pot of Extravagance. I'm on a 45 card list, so I wanted my draw power, but I prefer my draw power to be a bit more versatile. I think triple Extrav isn't enough, because my extra deck, I don't really use it, but it's nice to have, and the random shuffle does hurt. And then Duality is good, but it's not great. You can't special summon, it's only 1 card. So I feel like playing 2 of each and just having 4 draw cards is very nice and very cool to have. So yeah, if you play less cards than this, I would suggest just playing Extra or just playing Duality. But on 45 cards, I think playing 4 draw cards is pretty nice. I always saw 1 when I needed it. It just came out good. And then the final 2 spells, which shouldn't be spells, but maybe they should. I honestly wanted to play 2 Evenlies, but I'm waiting for the Trap Tricks structure deck to get them. Yeah, I didn't get my Evenlies in Mama. Fight me. So I played 2 Lightning Storms And honestly, they came up clutch. Every time I saw it, I was happy I saw it. Like, it's still a very good card. I might even keep it up until I get the Evenlies and then still consider playing it over Evenly. So yeah, just 2 Lightning Storm as an extra breaker in the deck. The plan is still to play 10 going second cards in this list, so you see one every hand. Yeah, so for spells, 1 Lady Lab, 4 draw spells, and 2 breakers. And now we go to the biggest chunk of the deck, the traps. Like I already said, we are on triple Welcome Labyrinth. If you don't know what this card does, it summons a Labyrinth monster from your deck, and then if a card leaves the field because of a card effect, if a monster leaves the field because of a card effect, let me rephrase that. If a monster your opponent controls leave the field because of a normal trap of yours, you can set this card from the graveyard. So that's really nice to use. And then for final welcome cards, I play 2 Big Welcome, which are the new ones, and 1 Fall Welcome. So Big Welcome is the new one from Phhy Nova. What it says is you can special summon 1 level 8 Labyrinth monster from your deck and then return 1 card straight to the hand you control, which is really nice as it summons, triggers your Labyrinth, and then some of the Labyrinths, like you saw, can just get summoned back of their own effect. So it's really juicy. It gives you a lot of advantage in your opponent's draw phase. Also, it has a second effect. If this card enters the graveyard and you control a level 8 or higher fiend, you can banish it and bounce one of your opponent's cards back to your hand, which is just so juicy. It's like 2 more compulsors in the deck. Use it a lot. People don't respect this card in the grave. It's so good. I remember against the tier player, I kind of just rolled him because off of his mills, he Galbacked me. I milled this one, I just bounced one of his monsters on his own turn. It was really nice. You can just do a lot with this. And then finally, we also play the Fall Welcome Labyrinth. This is the bottle trap we set off of Archfiend. And all it says is if a card attacks and you control a Fiend monster, you can negate the attack and then destroy 1 card your opponent controls. This came up clutch in the Branded match as he made the guy that made my attack 0. He wanted to attack me, I flipped this, popped the other card on field, negated 1 attack. And then when this card resolves, you can also set 1 non-Labyrinth normal trap from the grave. So that's also really cool about Archfiend, is you summon him, so he's a +1, then he sets this, so he's a +2, and then this one sets another trap. So in my mind, he's a +3, and he's just massive value. So yeah, all of these are also welcome, so they trigger your field spell. So all of them are just massive value. Okay, that's it for the Labyrinth traps. Now we're on generic removal traps. First up, we play the old but gold guy, Triple Compulse. You can target any card on the field, as long as it's a monster, and bounce it to the hand. You can target your own cards and start the Yada lock with them. Lovely, you can just bounce your opponent's monsters. I think Compulse-like effects are really strong. And I think just having this kind of removal in this deck, making it searchable, making it recurable, allowing it to become 2 pops, even a pop on a reborn, all that stuff, it's just really nice. Then, other than that, we are on the MVP of the deck, 2 IDP. This card is nuts. It wins every match you use it in. Every deck that sucks against IDP that kind of needs its graveyard. Used it against Branded to mess up fusions. Used it against Dynamorphia to really annoy them more than anything. I even used this against Tia, not for the pop, but just to steal one of the monsters from the graveyard, and I made Dweller with the level 4 I stole. So, just a lot of good effects on this card. I really enjoyed playing it. Then we play IDP at home, in a sense, which is Terrors of the Overroot. This card, if you don't know it, it's fine. All it says is you can target any card on the field and any card in the graveyard, send the one on field to grave, and set the card from grave. So it's IDP, it also works for spells and traps. And it's again just nice. It's really good against Cash, this one, as it gives them a card on their field. You can just set one of their monsters and just make it so they can't come back after you get rid of one of their monsters. It's just value. I think it's IDP at home, but it has some other uses where it just becomes nicer, and I think it's really, really good in the Kashtira matchup. And then finally, Ledger Book. I think this is the worst one of my removal traps, but again, you can remove up to 2 monsters, you can banish them till the end phase, and then they can also gain 1,000 life points for each monster banished. Not that good in time, but again, it's banished too, and this deck can OTK if you have to. Like, this deck puts out 10k damage if you have to. So, it's still a very nice card. It's still very versatile. You can do a lot with it. And also, there's one card to my extract that I will show. It's maybe a bit of a tech choice that I didn't even make, but it works really well with this card. So that's it for my generic removals, which brings us to just other traps. First up, only negate I play in the deck. We are on triple infinite impermanence. Kind of the same reasoning. I want to play 10 go in second cards in the main deck, as well as if you have silver or you have Archfiend, they kind of work like a multi-faker. If you're going second, you activate Imperm, you can still special summon them, you can still get some value. I think it just comes up where Imperm is nice, and just having a recurable negate with Lady, you don't even have to pop, you can just negate every time. It's Imperm, it's a good hand trap, play it. And then my last 4 main deck cards is 2 goes in match, broken against Cash, broken against Rogue. Alright with all the rest, you don't really care about it. 1 Waybridge, I would like to play 2 instead of 3 Ash, but so far it's good. If you don't know what this card does, it's basically evenly with for going first decks. All it says is if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters than you do, flip this card, your opponent has to send cards to the graveyard until they control only 1. Why do I put it with this type of traps? It does not trigger your Labyrinth cards. It only triggers the field spell. It does not trigger the other ones because it makes your opponent do it. It doesn't send them themselves. And then the final card, the MVP of the deck, EEV. So many times I just placed this card, flipped it, got rid of my Lava Golem and all this stuff, and it just destroyed the decks. I used it against Branded, got rid of through the spells. I used it against Anamorphia to try and get rid of the traps. The Judgments did even better, no Judgment anymore. Used against Steer to get rid of their removal spells. Just a really good card, and even funnier if you play it alongside the field spell. You can just tribute your silver, and then on resolution, because you activate a normal trap, you can just summon back your silver. So EEV was really the MVP of this deck, if you know what I'm saying. 45 cards, bringing us to the extra deck. I'm gonna be honest, my extra deck is a bit of a joke. I only went into 2 extra deck monsters even at locals. I went into Abyss Dweller against Steer. Don't think I have to explain this one. And then I went against the Garis in the finals, just for the draw 2 effect, which came out really clutch as I drew a side deck card as well as EEV. So you enjoy this. Then another level 4, rank 4. This was a Spice card. It's Traptrix Olomeris. If you don't know what this one does, it says if one of your opponent's cards, of your opponent's monsters, leaves the field because of a card effect of yours, so if it's to the grave or banished, which Ledger Book, IDP, all that stuff, you can attach 1 card, special summon that monster. So it makes Ledger Book better because you can even steal their monsters with it, and you just don't care anymore at that point. Didn't make it, but in theory it works. And finally, Baguska. It's in. It makes sense. I hate this card. I think it's just boring gameplay, but I put it in. Yeah, so that's it for XYZs in the extra deck. Then we go to links. I play 1 Dark, 1 Beat Cop, as I don't have the new one. I don't even go in it anyways, who cares? 1 IP, and then IP targets in Nightmare Unicorn. You can make this one under your Floodgates and under the Fiend Lock of Welcome Labyrinth. 1 Evermax, because this card is just really strong in certain matchups. 1 Apollosa, because sometimes you just need negates. And then, like I said, there's a Fiend Locks. I also play Gozen. I also have Unchained, but you can't see these. I also play 2 Unchained Abomination. This card is pretty cool in theory, as if you pop something with your Lady, he triggers as well, so your Lady becomes a pop 2, your field spell becomes a pop 2. You can just pop a lot with this one. And then finally, some good luck cards. I played 2 German, Traptrix Arrows, and best card in the deck, I played 1 Sandwich. I don't know, I needed 15 cards for extra. It's the only reason why they're in there, but hey, they brought me good luck, as I did end up winning, I guess. And then finally, the side. I'm gonna be honest, I saw 2 side cards, all locals. First up, Triple Shifter. I saw this once against Dynamorphia, didn't win me the game. It's good against Steer, didn't see it against Steer, it's what it is. And then also 2 Chaos Hunter. I think Chaos Hunter is just really good into Cash. It's really good blanketed, it's good against Runic, it's good against Sprite. I think just stopping banishing stops so much in the meta, as I think Sprite, Runic, and Cash are going to be the best decks this format. I think just going anti-banish is the way to go. This one does not stop evenly, but I do play another card that stops evenly, which helps me a lot. And then everything else in my side are traps. So first up, I'm on triple Solemn Judgment. Makes sense, it stops every out they want to try. You can just negate it. If they go for something value, you just Solemn Judgment it. Just a good card, man. Like, play it. And now we go to Floodgates. I play 2 Summon Limits. This is the floodgate I drew off of the Garas. This is the floodgate that won me the locals. I just really like this card. I think this card is broken. I think this card is so fucking good. Summon limits, like, it stops Cash, it stops Runic, it stops... Sorry, it doesn't stop Runic, it stops Sprite, it stops so many rogue decks. It stops Bestial Branded. It's just a really good card. I play 2 Imperial Iron Wall. It stops Evenly, it stops Bestials, it stops Branded, it stops Runic in a sense. I like this card a lot. And then finally, probably the worst floodgate in this deck, Skill Drain. It's just there as a blanket. It's fine, but it's not great. It's just Skill Drain, you know. Card has value, but not always. It's better in rogue matchups than anything else. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'd say if you have your Labyrinth staff, highly suggest you at least give it a shot. I think this deck has a lot of potential as a meta contender. I wouldn't say that it's hard meta, but I do say that it's top of rogue. I think it's a tier 1.5 deck. I highly recommend you try it out. I'm not saying you should try my list card per card. I wouldn't say that you try to go in second cards in the main. I wouldn't say you should try EEV. I highly recommend the EEV, but nothing here is set in stone. I'm going to tweak with it, but I think this version has a lot of potential. I think this version is really strong, and I really hope you enjoy this if you play it. Anyways, that's it for me. Shout out to you for watching. Shout out to everyone in Brick City for letting me record this. Shout out to the guys at Locals for letting me win. Shout out to Big Boy for letting me borrow this card. Shout out to Sam for letting this with me and then losing to me because, you know, despite knowing the entire deck. And yeah, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.